When we come to South Africa, there's a line that stands out here, and I'll read it to the audience and you'll see it when you go through it. South Africa is stuck, full stop. Now, based on your analysis, what are these bottlenecks that are proving stubborn, and what are we missing here in the conversation about how we reignite growth or get that momentum going?
There's two metrics, or there's two things that we're measuring across the axes. The first is your current account. Are you running a deficit or a surplus? And the second is your investment business. Are you putting capital into the country, gross domestic fixed investment? And South Africa is in a challenged place on both. In order to achieve world average economic growth, you need to be investing at least at the same pace as the world average, 25% of GDP or higher. South Africa has been stuck in neutral, 15, 16, 17% of GDP for the last 15 years. The last time we saw elevated GDFI, gross domestic fixed investment, was commodity boom 2005, 6, 7. And it's that ingredient that is missing in terms of driving South Africa into elevated, faster than population growth. We can go to where to invest in Africa, and you'll see that South Africa is a highly investable country. And that means that we quickly get from first into second and third. But here is a moment for trade to displace aid. And that could be a very, very powerful contributor to the transition that we believe is underway in a continent that on balance is growing quickly. And as a last note, we introduce into the 25-26 report the currency model. This is also always tricky because we print the currency model at the time of reporting, and currencies are moving tick by tick, second by second. So currencies that sit in undervalued territory with robust attributes we call coiled springs. And whilst this is a Pan-African report, we're writing from a South African room, or speaking from a South African room this morning, where overwhelmingly South Africans are cynical about the prospect of the rand. Well, here at the time that we produce the report, we talk about the rand as a coiled spring, and you have one of the best performing currencies in the world in your purse or wallet this morning, the South African rand. And not only is it undervalued, its structural attributes on balance are strong. So as much as policymakers have been very animated talking about recovery and the restoration of confidence, and certainly there are some important positives happening. And here's why forecasting is an absolute nonsense. If I'd said to you start of last year, 500 days uninterrupted electricity, I would have been laughed out of the room. But here we sit with 500 days uninterrupted, so the energy network is back. Barbara Creasy is making important gains in the transport cluster. The grey listing announced, these are important gains that are happening. Now what we need to happen for us to get from neutral into first is that investment confidence to be restored. We can go to where to invest in Africa, and you'll see that South Africa is a highly investable country. And that means that we quickly get from first into second and third.